All right, Shalom. All praise to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. The ones to the apostle elders of GMS. Barakatah, salutation to all you other brothers out there doing the work in truth and sincerity. I want to get into a little lesson. It's going to be real quick. And it's for one that a lot of people trip up about when they come out in the streets, you know, especially these church folks. And then basically they try to make it seem like the kingdom of heaven is for every nation, man. And we know that the kingdom of heaven is really for the Israelites, starting with the elect, 144,000 and 1/3. Well, the first precept I want to get is Revelation 7:9. And it reads, "After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues stood before the throne." And this is where people usually get tripped up at, man. This part right here, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands, and cried with a loud voice, saying, "Salvation to our power, which sitteth upon the throne, and unto the Lamb," which is Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, right? But then, us brothers, we know that the all nations, kindreds, and people, they're Israelites, man, and Israelite foreigners, but we can't just tell somebody that face value. We have to prove it to them, man. We have to prove that the Lord didn't come for everybody, man. He came for only his people, man, starting with the elect. But eventually the whole nation of Israel as a whole. So I get Joel 2:27. "And ye shall know that I am in the midst of Israel, and that I am the Lord, your power, and none else." So the Lord of Israel and no one else, not Esau, not Ham, not Japheth, all right, not Moab. "And my people shall never be ashamed." But some of our people are ashamed, man, because they come out in the streets and you tell them, "Hey, the Lord only for Israel, man," and they get butthurt about that, man. There's no reason you should be getting butthurt, man. Anything, you should be ecstatic, man, that, hey, at least the Lord chose me, man. That's the attitude you should be in. Because if it was these heathens, that's the same attitude they'll be in, man. You see right now, these heathens, they're not trying to help you. They seek out secret counsel against the children of Israel to keep us on the bottom, man. So if we came up to them with the gospel saying the kingdom of heaven was for you and not for the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, they want to be butthurt about that, man. Okay, so when you go back to Revelation 7:9, you have to read it in that context, man. All nations and kindreds and people are Israelites, man. Because the Lord said in Joel 2:27, "And ye shall know that I am in the midst of Israel, and that I am the Lord, your power, and none else," man. And the Lord told you he don't change. From the beginning, the Lord been telling us he been rocking with Israel, man, from Genesis all the way to Revelation, man. And in between, I get another precept. Because before I get that precept, the reason it says all nations, kindreds, and people is because Israel was scattered, man. And the Lord told us about that in Deuteronomy. Moses told us about that, man. If we kept the law, statutes, and commandments, he told us all the beautiful things that we would partake in, man. And if we didn't, some of the atrocities that would come to our people, man, and that we still suffering to this day. Okay, like being scattered, for example. Moses spoke about that, man, through the Spirit, Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. And that's why we're in all nations, kindreds, and peoples, because we've been scattered, and tongues speak different languages. This is Baruch 4:6. "You were sold to the nations." So if you were sold to the nations, that means you are among them. Okay? Some of their ways you pick up. Some of their customs you probably done picked up. But when you come back to the fold, through the Spirit, Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, you drop all that pagan, hedonistic shit, man. But we're still among a lot of the nations, man. You have Jakes in Iraq, okay? You have Jakes in Iran. South Africa, everywhere under the sun, man. Not for your destruction, but because you move Yahawah to wrath, you were delivered unto your enemies. For you provoked him that made you by sacrificing unto devils and not unto Yahawah. Okay? Ye have forgotten the everlasting power that brought you up, and ye have grieved Jerusalem that nourished you. So that's one of the main reasons we were scattered amongst everybody, man. Amongst all these other 17 nations. Because we couldn't keep the law, statutes, and commandments. We couldn't keep that covenant that we made with the Lord through Moses, man. And that's why I'm going to go back to Revelation 7 and 9. That's why the scriptures say precept upon precept, man. Line upon line, here a little, there a little. Okay? Now you start to get the understanding of all nations, kindreds, and people, and tongues. Right? Let me go to Baruch 3 and 8. Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments. Are we not subject to payments to this day, man? We gotta pay the white man for everything, man. Everything under the sun, we gotta go to the white man, to the so-called white man Esau, or these heathens, man. And we're yet this day in our captivity. That's what a lot of you jakes don't understand, especially 2/3. That's why y'all so into trying to save these other nations, man. The other 17 nations, because you niggas fail to realize that y'all still in captivity. And these people are free, man. According to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from the Lord our power, Bahasham Yahawashi. So that's why, go back to Revelation 7 and 9. And after this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations, and kindred, and people, and tongues, stood before the throne, and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands. So those people that Revelation 7 and 9 is talking about are Israelites, man. Nobody else. Israelites. Get another example. James 1 and 1. James, a servant of Yahawah and of our Lord Yahawashi Mashiach, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greetings. So James knew the same thing, man. James knew that we were scattered. We were scattered, man, amongst all these nations, man. So that's what you got to keep in mind when you read certain scriptures like Revelation 7 and 9, man. It's not talking about all nations, kindreds, and people, man. It's basically Israelites, man. But the Lord set up stumbling blocks all throughout the scriptures, man. So that if it's not for you, you can't get it, man. Because a lot of people will get tripped up by this verse right here, man. I'm going to get another one. This is Tobit, chapter 13, verse 1. Then Tobit wrote a prayer of rejoicing and said, Blessed be the God, Salah, blessed be God that liveth forever, and blessed be his kingdom. For he doth scourge and have mercy. He leadeth down to hell and bringeth up again. Neither is there any that can avoid his hand. Confess him before the Gentiles, ye children of Israel, for he hath scattered us among them. That's straight to the point, man. If you don't get that, I'm not going to condemn you, but you just got to pray and ask the Lord to open up your mind, man, so you can understand it, man. And if you just can't get it, hey, I'm not condemning you. The Lord is condemning you, man, because you just can't get it. It's plain as day, man. Let me go to Luke 21. This is the words of the Lord, Yahawashi, man. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword. Who's they? Israel. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captives into all nations. All nations. All nations. Because we were scattered. But the Lord never forgot his remnant, man. That was a curse put on us for not hearkening to Moses, man. Which really was Bahasham, man. Because the Lord used men to talk to you. We go to Isaiah. It's Isaiah 11 and 10. And in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, which shall stand for an ensign of the people. To it shall the Gentiles seek, and his rest shall be glorious. Okay? And that's talking about Yahawashi right there. But I want to get the word Gentiles. My brother Shamar pulled it up for me. And it's H1471. Go why? Go why? Nations, people, usually of non-Hebrew people, but here go right here. A descendant of Abraham, of Israel. You see? You gotta read everything in context, man. The next verse gonna break it down so you see that it's talking, that the word Gentiles is really talking about Israel. You could actually replace this word with Israel, man. Because in this verse, the word Gentiles is actually synonymous with the word Israel. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set up his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, from Egypt, from Pathros, and from Cush, and from Elam, and from Shinar, and from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea. Because these people were scattered everywhere, man. Okay? And these lands are close to Israel. Okay? So when you read Revelation 7 and 9, keep that in context. Keep that in mind. And if somebody, another brother or a scoffer or somebody, you know, everything is always done to edification. You can always edify them, man. You see? Now the last verse I'm going to finish it off with, you know, because people jump to this scripture too. It's Romans 10 and 12. For there is no difference between the Jew and the Greek. Now, we done read all these precepts previous to show you that the Lord scattered us in the midst of all these people, man. Like myself, in the world, I was known as a Haitian. Now I know myself as a Levite, right? But I live in Babylon. That don't make me a Haitian, Levite, Babylonian. That make me a Levite, man. Just living in a different land. This is where my people were scattered. This is where my people migrated, and I just so happened to be birthed here. But that don't make me a Babylonian. I'm still an Israelite. Okay? For the same Lord, Yahawashi, over all is rich unto all that call upon him. Okay? The reason I got this, Romans 10 and 12, is because this is another one that people like to jump to, man. See, there's no difference between Jew and Greek. If you had the understanding, you would know that these are the same people in this context. To give you an example of that, because there's people, they call themselves like, okay, LeBron James, right? He calls himself a Negro, but he's not a Negro. He's a Judite, man. All right? To give you a perfect example, because I like sports, and you brothers that like sports, y'all probably seen this the other day, the All-Star game. This guy right here, Giannis Antetokounmpo, however you pronounce it, man. It's not my son. But he's known as the Greek Freak, man. Let's say a Greek professional basketball player for the Milwaukee Bucks of the National Basketball Association, okay? See his place of birth? But his parents are Nigerian, man. His parents are Jake. You see how he played? See the sauce in his game? See how he was balling? Now I hope through the Spirit and power of Yahawashi, you brothers is edified, man, on Revelation 7 and 9, man. On this all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, man, will stood before the Lord. So that you know, hey, it's not the whole world, man. It's not the rest of the 17 nations. There's only one nation, Israel, man. The other 17 nations, they taking their ass straight to slavery, man. Even if they like it or don't like it, we don't give a damn, man. They going to slavery, man. You think we want to go to slavery? You think the Lord get down like that, man? He gonna give you the kingdom of heaven 2 times? You think the white man gonna be in heaven right now, and then when the Lord come, gonna put him right back in heaven again? And that means the Lord is not a just power, man. But that's where I'm going to end it off at, man. With that, I wish you brothers were edified, man, through the spirit power of Yahawashi. I'm going to say all praises to Yahawashi. Double to my apostle elders at GMS. Barakathan salutation to all you brothers out there doing work in truth and sincerity. Until next time, Shalom.